In this 40th video, I want to speak on an interesting topic. Small intervals of rest of the human heart keep it working for 100 years. This is the topic. And as all of us know that we are expected to live for 100 years. That is the lifespan of the human beings, 100 years. And with the advent of the modern technologies, modern medicine, modern facilities, and we are able to sustain, we are able to survive, we are able to counter the adversity, and we are able to live longer. And we can live longer, and we are expected to live longer, at least for 100 years. That is the span of life. We are designed, our organs are designed for 100 years. So human heart is an important organ for our survival. And for our survival, the oxygen is very important. Supply of oxygen is very important for the working of our brain, working of our body. The oxygen supply very important, and oxygen can be supplied by the functioning of the heart. When the heart contracts and expands, it can circulate the blood in the body to the organs. It can carry the blood by its contraction and expansion. That is, with the heart can pump the blood to the body, to the brain and the organs by working relentlessly, continuously. And this flow of the blood to the organs will supply the oxygen to the tissues, cells. So that is how we can sustain our life. Our life will sustain, we can survive. So human body requires a regular and continuous supply of oxygen for its continuance and survival. The heart contracts and expands at regular intervals to pump the blood to the entire body and to receive the blood from the entire body in cycle. This type of sending and receiving blood by the contraction and expansion of the blood from the heart is called cardiac cycle. So by regular cardiac cycle, our body gets the blood, oxygen supply through blood. The cardiac cycle occurs in 4 phases. The systolic phases, 2 systolic phases and 2 diastolic phases. That means there are only 2 main phases in the cardiac cycle. Systolic phase and diastolic phase. These are the 2 main phases in the cardiac cycle. That is pumping of the heart, blood by the heart. Cardiac cycle begins with the atrial diastolic phase. During this phase, both the atria relax, receiving impure blood from the entire body into right atrium and pure blood from lungs into left atrium. This phase of atrial diastole lasts for about 0.7 seconds, that is 700 milliseconds. This is followed by atrial systolic phase. During this phase, which lasts about 0.1 second, that is 100 milliseconds, both the atria contract, forcing blood from atria into ventricles. Impure blood entering into right ventricle from right atrium, and pure blood entering into left ventricle from left atrium. During this phase, the ventricles relax to receive the blood from atria. Relaxation of ventricles is called ventricular diastolic phase, which lasts about 0.5 seconds, that is 500 milliseconds. Then both ventricles contract, pumping the blood to the body parts. Impure blood to the lungs from right ventricle and pure blood to the entire body from left ventricle. This is called ventricular systolic phase, which lasts about 0.3 second, that is 300 milliseconds. Thus, cardiac cycle begins with the atrial diastolic phase about say for 700 milliseconds, followed by atrial systolic phase say 100 milliseconds, and ventricular diastolic phase say 500 milliseconds simultaneously, and ends up with the ventricular systolic phase for about 300 milliseconds. That means blood circulation occurs by the diastolic and systolic phases of the heart, with the two diastolic phases, atrial diastolic phase and ventricular diastolic phase, and two systolic phases, atrial systolic phase and ventricular systolic phase. During the two systolic phases, the heart atria and ventricles contract. That means the heart muscles are working, spending energy for about 400 milliseconds. During the two diastolic phases, heart atria and ventricles relax. That heart muscles are relaxing. That means they are taking rest for 1200 milliseconds. During this resting period for 200 milliseconds, the heart muscles are rejuvenated with energy and strength. This kind of resting about 1200 milliseconds in each period of cardiac cycle will keep the heart healthy and strengthen the heart to work for 100 years continuously. See the beauty? This is the design of the human heart, which is designed for 100 years. It can work for 100 years in good health, in good condition. So this is possible. That is, human heart can work for 100 years, can make us live for 100 years. This is possible because the heart takes rest in the intervals of the cardiac cycle. That is, in the diastolic phase, it takes rest for 1200 milliseconds in every cycle, which regenerates the heart muscles to get strengthened, to get the energy required for the pumping, for the working. So therefore, this kind of design is the really a boon in the design of in the formation of the human heart and the survival of the human beings for with a lifespan of 100 years. So therefore, this is a very important fact and a reason to believe that if we keep our heart very healthy, in good condition, with good nutrition and good exercise, regular exercise, and taking nutritious diet, balanced diet, and avoiding bad habits like alcohol, smoking, tobacco smoking, and tobacco products, and taking good fruits, fresh fruits, greeny vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and having good habits, inculcating good habits, one can keep their heart healthy and in good condition, which can make us live for 100 years, because the human heart is designed for a for 100 years, to work for 100 years. So therefore, dear viewers, if you like this video, you can share, subscribe and comment. Thank you very much, dear viewers.